All right, hit it.
Oh.
So what I want you guys to do, because we're going to talk about focus today. Today's conversation, our mastermind is on focus. We're going to talk about how do we help you improve your focus? How do we make sure you have clarity in what you're focusing on? And I want to challenge you guys to think about this. If there was one thing that was your number one focus, you said, this is going to happen. I'll bet with every dollar I have that every single one of you, if it truly was a non-negotiable, it was going to happen, that your focus and your intensity towards that goal was going to make it happen. I guarantee it. Now, a lot of times that's very short term. I could tell each one of you, I do this just because I know his history. Bill Bliss, who is Icon Agent, way to go, Bill. Love that. That is huge. Just a phenomenal talent. Was also in the Army, graduated from West Point. And I guarantee you, if he says he's going to do something, particularly with short focus, meaning not a 6-year plan, but this has to happen over the course of a couple weeks, he has the mental strength, the mental discipline, better word, to accomplish whatever he sets out to do. I know that. I've watched him do it. I've watched him drop a ton of weight. I've watched him take his business from literally managing and regional for 7-Elevens to Icon Agent with he and his wife and his family. And he's a family man. His focus is amazing and it allows him to accomplish a lot of things. And that's probably because he didn't have a whole heck of a lot of choice in West Point because he was a plebe and he had to do whatever the hell they told him to do. And he had to do it well. But we learned this, and it's not something that I expect everybody here is going to be like, oh my God, this was amazing. I'm going to be great at whatever I decide to do. This is to get you started. So your priorities start lining up and that your actions start going towards there. We become what we think about. Everybody or everything else is to some degree out of our control. So think about this. If you thought to yourself, I am going to X, Y, Z. And if you thought about that enough, I promise you that would start to occur. It can't help it. The human mind is very, very keen on working towards accomplishments, working towards achievements. That's how we do. You don't sit there, except for my kids, and go, I'm just going to sit here under the shower and get wet for a while because this is, we don't do that. Nobody goes and stands in the shower for 30 minutes because it just kind of feels good. We go in the shower, we take a shower, we clean off, we get out. We are goal-oriented humans. That's what we do. What you focus on is probably going to be on something that's important to you. What do you want really badly? What's burning inside of you? What can you see yourself achieving? Okay, for me, throwing it out there for my wife, and I'm sure she'll be good with this one. Both of us have a desire for physical health, and it's what we eat. It's not just weight, but it's what we eat, how we exercise. And I'm going to get into that because there's about 5 or 6 things that totally affect every single day. And that's going to have something to do with your focus too. Guys, this is not a conversation on what your goal is. This is a conversation on the psychosis, the psychology behind why your goal may be inhibited by other distractors, why your focus may be minimized. When we're said and done, and this is going to end at 9 o'clock, pretty sharply at 9. When we're said and done, it is my singular mission that you have an idea of some of the things that clutter up your focus and that you are able to systematically say, okay, I want to remove that from my world, my area, my particular hour of the day. And I have now some focus on what I want to accomplish. I know mine. I'm very clear. I have a goal board. I put everything up on here. I know exactly what I'm looking at. It's actually kind of funny because I looked up at it and there's one that I've got to put a big red check mark by because I just finished that and I got it accomplished, which is great. What do you want really badly? What's burning inside of you? What must happen? Now, I know quite a few of us have this because we're talking business. We're like, I must get a sale. I must be successful. I've got to do this. I totally understand that, but it's not a sale. It's a financial position. Think about that. It's not, oh, I need this sale. It's, I need a financial reward. I have a deficiency someplace, or I have a goal that I'm not reaching, and it's financial reward. So let's boil that down to what it really is, what we're looking at. If it's business is your conversation, then there's a very good chance your focus has to do with a reward, a financial reward. Can you see yourself achieving it? The answer is almost always yes. Anybody who says they can't, I want to talk to you privately. And the reason I do is because you're letting other things get in your way. We're going to cover what those are. I believe that you control your surroundings but you can't control everything. I believe that your surroundings are absolutely critical to your success. And we'll cover in just a couple minutes what the day before looks like and how that affects it. But I want you to consider, are you surrounded by what is important to you? Are you surrounded by things that lend you to be successful at your goals? For some people, you've got to ask, do I have the right people around me? Are they building me up, or are they saying, no, I can't? If they say, no, I can't, I'm simply saying for you, because I'm passionate about your success, I want you to consider that perhaps you want to, if you don't want to remove them from your sphere, your circle of influence, perhaps you want to remove them for a period of time to allow you to get into focus on what your priorities are. This is about you living an amazing life based on what you want, and it will require focus. So some of the factors that affect focus: distractions, insufficient sleep, lack of physical exercise, eating habits, environment. Now, I dropped in there, Joe, if you would do me a favor, 15 ways to improve concentration. It was one of the first things I dropped. Drop that in for me as well. This is a long version of that. I would encourage you, if you're able to draw that out of the chat box and take a look at that when we're said and done. Every single thing that happens around you, to you, or while you're participating has an effect on you. All of us jumped on a call, and earlier, for the people that weren't aware of it, there's like 5 or 6 people on, and Tiffany was busy doing some work. And then all of a sudden 20 people showed up, and she was focused on something. So she didn't let the interference of everybody coming on the call distract her. That focus lends itself towards her goals, which she had to get done for work, for us. And she was able to block out some of that. So if you're surrounded by the wrong people, get them out of your area of focus when you need to be clear. It's challenging to do. For some of us, that's a very big decision. I hope that's not the case for everybody here. I hope everybody doesn't go through that. But I've had conversations with people where their significant other was tearing them apart. They knew where they wanted to go, but they didn't have a partner and an ally. On a side note with that, everybody look around. These are your partners: Alexander, Keith, Paula, Kelly, Suzanne. We're all here. We are here together because we have a singular objective. And that objective is we want the best we can possibly be. Focus is going to help you get there. Did y'all know that the human brain works or uses a maximum of 10% of its brain power? That's a proven statistic. And there are, of course, anomalies to that. Einstein, I think, was probably at like 11 or 12. The average person uses about 5. 2 of my 4 children use 2.3. We've had it measured. They're pretty much idiots at this point. I'm not going to tell you which 2, because in those 2 are one of my favorites, and I don't want them to know which one. They're still working to figure out who's the favorite of the kids. By the way, if you have children, I would advise you to do this. Line them all up and say, one of you is my favorite. And it's up to you guys to figure out who it is. But I'm watching all of you, so everything you do will be put into the grade. It's amazing how that afternoon works. They usually do the dishes too. Just throwing that out there a little. That's more of a teaser, an extra thing. We should probably do a class on that at some point. By the way, do me a favor. Completely off topic. I'm in the mood to do a series class. Now, we've done a series class before. Joe, get with Tiffany, because I do want this to go into the GPS Global Partners under the training. We did an 8-part series class for emerging agents, exactly what to do, how to work with buyers, the tools to work with buyers, sellers, tools to work with sellers, your vendors, everything, start to finish. You put it under contract. That is going to be available for anybody that wants it, because it's a really good class. But I want to do another one. If there's some topics that you want covered, that you want us to dive a little deeper in, put them in the chat box. Just put in class recommendation, and then whatever it is you want, I promise you we'll take those, we'll take those notes down and make sure that we get to those, should they fit into the curriculum that we're looking to do. So back to the human brain, it uses 5% on average. My children a little less. This is way down from 30 years ago. Question is, are you allowing your computer, your brain, to work freely? Now think about that. What could be slowing it down? What could be clogging it up? Quite honestly, it's distractions. It's the fact that we are instant gratification. It's the fact that this will ring, and all of a sudden I'm sitting here talking to you, and I've done this with you guys, and I'm embarrassed that I have. And I'm like, wait, hold on one second, and I'll answer a phone or answer a text message. How can I possibly let that interfere where my focus should be, which is with my friends, my partners, the people that I'm here with? What's getting in the way of your focus? What's allowing your brain to slow down? What is distracting you that you have surrounding you? Does this go away when you're working? Does this be put somewhere else? For the people I can see, show of hands, has anybody here, short of a family phone call, had a real estate emergency that couldn't wait 30 minutes? Chances are you probably have had one, but more than one or two over the course of a 6-month period of time, where no matter what, if it waited 30 minutes, the sky would have fallen apart. Show me hands if you've had at least that happen once or twice in a 6-month period of time. Not one of us should raise our hands. If you did, good for you. I'm sorry that happened. But think about this. I've had calls from 20 years in real estate, and none of them have been life-threatening. Oh my God, the deal's falling apart. Oh my God, it didn't appraise. That can wait 45 minutes, because you know what? During that particular time of the day, if it's my morning, for me, it's 9:30 to 11. That's my time. Nothing gets in the way of that. It's not allowed to be. That's when I am doing what I have to do. That's when I'm working on the projects that I must get done, where I'm prospecting or I'm lead generating. And I promise you, every one of you has a job, and the first job is lead generating. You have to bring in new clients. Your second job is to support those that are already here with you and aligned with you as an ally. That's where your focus has got to be, for sure. Now, there's a lot more, and we're going to cover that. Here's a question. Who wants to volunteer? It's just a yes or no, and probably a quick little dialogue. Somebody raise their hand that I can see, and then I'll pick on whoever has raised their hand. I need somebody that's going to talk to me for just a couple seconds. Okay, great. Nobody's going to talk to me. Daryl, it's you. Oh, sorry about that. No, we got it. Susan.
Okay.
No. I'm going to pick Susan. She put her hand up. Susan, I want to ask you a question. Good morning, by the way. How are you?
Good morning.
Thank
Great.
you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome. What's something that is important to you that's not accomplished yet, but you really want to do? It can be across any topic you choose. Do you have something you can share?
Retiring my husband.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's awesome. And what a great thing. Do y'all get the power of that? Did you? Oh, Susan, were you here? Were you at the GPS summit when we had Elizabeth Riley up on stage?
Would not miss your GPS summits at all. As you see, I already asked in the chat when the next one is.
Well, it's in September. We're working on that in September, because we're gonna couple them with the others. There's a woman named Elizabeth Riley. Elizabeth Riley was the first person I ever met with EXP. When I joined the company, I was interviewing 72 agents to make sure I made the right choice. And she has become a dear, dear friend of mine. I had no clue, but she's actually one of my senior sponsors and senior partners. And she's amazing. She just retired her husband from IBM. I mean, a massive position with IBM. He was the senior vice president, and he was like, I'm not enjoying it. And she looked at him and she goes, as we're going to talk about in just a second, Susan, she goes, I think I'm going to retire you. And he's like, what do you mean? And so she laid out a plan, which is kind of along these lines. So, I'll get to Susan, or I'll get to Elizabeth in just a minute. So if we spend an hour, or if you spend an hour focusing on what would be involved with retiring your husband, I'm pretty sure one of these would be involved in that process. There is no other distractions. Can you write down or come up almost immediately with one or two things that must happen to achieve that goal that you're willing to share with us?
Lead generation, prospecting.
Okay, so and I'm going to summarize that. It's improving, or let's say that it's increasing the financial return of your real estate business. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay. All right. Because it looks different for everybody. It may be buying more investment homes. Somebody on the call, I think it was Deb, I'm not sure, just got another, no, it wasn't. It was Holly, just got her third Airbnb. Awesome.
Nice.
Right. But that goes towards the retiring. What I'm getting at, thank you very much for that, Susan. That's what I needed, is I needed some input from somebody besides just me. We know that she has to do some more income, but there's probably about 10 other items, and not necessarily in that priority. That's the number one, but there's other supporting things. That's the focus. If everybody here spent an hour focusing on a problem, a challenge, an issue, and went completely quiet, would you have an action plan, or at least the beginning of an action plan, that would get you a heck of a lot closer to accomplishing whatever that particular goal was? By giving it some focus, would you have more clarity on what you must do? Okay. Is everybody awake? Give me a nod if you're awake.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. I appreciate that. I can see. It's funny. Alita's, she's like driving, so I just have a static on her face. But guys, I want you to consider that we know what we want, but sometimes we don't know where we want to focus. And to do that, you're going to have to look at your personal goal, your objective, and say, how am I going to improve my focus on that? There is a box or a page that I dropped in here. I'm going to share it with you guys at this point because I want you to see it. Joe, do me a favor, drop the focus worksheet if you would. And this is just a quick overview of it. And it's something you might want to consider pulling off and considering for yourself. That's not it. This is areas of focus. It's business, financial, health, real estate, or excuse me, relationships, family, spiritual growth. And you can add more to this if you want to. What are you doing that you should keep doing? What should be more intentional? What should you stop doing? And what should you start doing? This comes from that hour of focus. That's start doing. You're probably already doing some things that are pretty good. If we said we're going to make our goal to get you to your goal, if that was our one-on-one conversation, the first thing we need to know is what has to happen for that to go. We already have, almost every one of us has an idea of what our goals are. But the question is, do you have strategies? Have you given that focus to find the right way at which to go? Somebody has their hand up. Let's see who it is. Bob, what you got going on, Bob?
Hey, so one thing that kind of correlates this, it's not particularly straight on. You can go, people spend money on what they value, spend time on what you value. Your business is your value, spend time on it.
That broke up a whole lot for me. Did everybody else get that a little broken up? Can you try that one more time for us, Bob? I feel like that was really good. Sorry?
Sure. People spend money on what they value.
Yep.
People spend money on what they value. Spend time on well. Your value.
Bob, you're breaking up all over the place, buddy. We're going to have to come back on that one. I'll pull you back in when we're done. I want to continue to move on with this, but I don't want to miss what we're talking about. If you gave 1 hour of time, quiet time on whatever it is you're focusing on, I know I've already beat this dead horse, but I want you to come up with I want you to accept the idea that there's a very good chance you're going to come up with 5 to 10 things you must do. Now that gives you the ability to put these plans into place. Your focus on what you desire, your mission on what you desire has to have action steps, has to have a way of attaining. You can't just say all of a sudden, oh my God, I want to be 197.5 pounds. That's literally what's written down right here. I look at that every single day. Okay. That's not going to accomplish it. Although the mindset that I am that person, I'm just in a different transforming physical position works. That I am a real estate agent that just started out and I am going to close 26 transactions. That is an actual fact. I'm just not putting everything into place yet. If you have to do something, you're going to need to focus. Our goal is to help you have clarity on what focus looks like. So I want to ask you guys this question. Did you know, I'm going to tell you this, more of a statement. Did you know that the most successful way to maintain weight loss is to think of yourself as fit or thin or your desired weight? I weigh substantially more than 197.5 pounds. But because I'm on this class and I'm just like everybody else, I completely forgot it. I started writing down early this morning what 197.5 pounds does. He moves quicker than I move. I have an excuse, but you know what I'm saying? The 197 pounds is a lot more agile. When they're walking, because they're walking, they're not just walking straight. I've got more stuff going on and I'm starting to mentally put myself in that position. My body will follow. The reason I weigh what I weigh is I started to accept and understand that that is who I am at this particular weight. And for me, using weight as an example, because it's one that we can all kind of identify with, I started at 197 pounds in 2020 or 2000. And then it was okay. 110 or 210 pounds was fine. And then 220 became the norm. And I accepted that's who I was. I didn't think I'm 197 pounds. I said, I'm 220 and that's okay. I can handle it. If mentally in my mindset, y'all gauge this one, because this is going forward for this year, 197 is who I am. I'm just in the wrong physical state right now, but that's going to start changing because my mind, the 10% I'm using, is on the fact that I'm already who that person is. You may be a person who sells 30 homes a year. Is your mind in that right state of mind? I believe it would be. Are you focusing on things that have to happen for that to actually become fulfilled? But do you internalize it and say, this is who I am? Looking around this room, I'm just going to pick on anybody, Bob, or Delaney. I love Delaney. Hi, honey. Good to see you. Delaney is a massively successful real estate agent that's going to close 20 transactions this year. Delaney, that is absolutely the truth. Is that fair?
That is totally fair.
Okay. And now, based on the last 3 months or the last 2 months, are you on track for that? Yes or no?
Absolutely not.
Okay. But that doesn't change the dynamic that this year is 20 transactions, right? Because
True.
all you have to do, I'm sorry.
No, I said I still have time.
And it starts right now. If you can change your mindset, not you, Delaney, this in general, thank you, honey. I love you. I think you're awesome. I do. You're just amazing. She's like a beacon for me. If you change your mindset, you're going to find that your body, your brain, your surroundings, your environment will start to follow it. If you believe it, it will happen. It has no choice. Do you know that there are athletes that run marathons or that run races and they compete against athletes who have never run that course, but have watched it and then in their mind ran that course in their mind? They ran every step of it. Can you imagine sitting down? I used to race dirt bikes. I used to race motocross. And I know what this is talking about because you literally go through the track in your mind and you say, okay, I'm going to go high on this berm because I got the loop-de-loos coming up and I've got to clear 2. So I know once I'm off that last one, I've got to get my front down and I'm going to catch the air. And when you're going through it, you experience the race. The racers who did that, who ran the track, who did that route, or whatever it is, and did it more than those who physically ran it, won almost every time. Your mind is more powerful than your body. When you accept that, now you got to consider, what are you putting into it? What does your mind look like? Good morning, Emily. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while, so I had to give you a hi and shout out. How are you? Think about that. Racers who ran the course in their brain beat racers who ran the course on the actual course. They were better. They accomplished a better track speed. They accomplished more. You can do the same. What does your day look like? We're going to cover that in just a second. All right. I want to get in your face just a little bit because this happens all the time. This is called the drunk monkey. Okay. The drunk monkey is this. I can't. There isn't enough. Whatever. It's too expensive. I don't have the time. My world doesn't permit it. There are excuses everywhere. The question is that more important to you than your goal? And will you let the excuse override your focus? Because I promise you, if you take that excuse, you go, shut up, excuse, you're out of my world. And you say, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to give it an hour, or whatever that is. And I challenge everybody today, not at 9:30. Go find clients. Go do what you do best. You're a real estate professional, practice real estate at a high level, but schedule an hour and have one topic that you're going to work on. When this is all said and done, I'll show you what I use. I have an iPhone and I use Mac across the platform. If you have an iPhone, there's a great app called Things, which is phenomenal. I will spend a moment or two on that when we're all said and done. It allows me to have focus, but I want you to pick one item you're going to focus on. Boy, I got to tell you, I really, really miss teaching this. I really miss talking to you guys. This is like the best part of my day. Again, if you think of a class you want, hit it, put it down there for me. The drunk monkey will get in your way. You have to recognize what it is. I can't, I won't, it couldn't, it's too expensive. I shouldn't do this. Once that happens, say, wait a second, that's not the case. I can do anything. I am fully capable. And then get that.
George,
yeah.
George, can I say one quick thing?
Absolutely, Cheryl, shoot.
I'm finishing up 75 hard again this year.
Awesome.
I'm on day 66, I think. Yeah, 65. Anyway, the thing that it really taught me this year too, I mean, doing it the first time is because I thought I couldn't do certain things or I didn't have as good self-control about certain things and all that. As I got, started getting older, or I made excuses. So, but this year, it really focused me in on, the goals like you're discussing. And, your physical definitely affects your mental. And as far as like what you're eating, what you're putting inside of you is definitely affecting on how you're living your life. I mean, my clarity is like off the charts because of what I'm doing. And if, some of you don't know what it is, you can look it up, 75 Hard, what you have to do. But also right now I have over 10 people in my funnel. I'm working 4 to 5 hours a day, completely focused. Don't allow anybody to get in that space. And, you don't want to offend anybody, but I'm also focused on my spiritual, which I teach 2 mornings a week, Bible study, which I have to hop on in 2 minutes. But I'm just, I have those pockets of time for me though, too. So I've just been intentional and just been focused, and just with this particular thing, because you talked about weight, and a lot of people talk about weight, and it's not even about weight for me. It's about just eating well as I'm getting older and being focused in on the important things in life. We're all aging. We all are moving through life, and there's a lot going on in the world, and there's a lot of pressures from all different areas, and not letting other people steal your joy, letting other people steal your time. And just having those hours a day, and I'm focusing on 4 to 5 hours a day, and that's it really. And the rest of the day is mine. But what I'm focused on is starting to really happen.
So Cheryl, I got to let everybody know, and before you hop off, because I know you've got a priority that's coming and that's not going to be wavered. So 75 Hard is 2 45-minute workouts, and they have to be at least 3 hours apart. It is 10 pages read, not on an iPad. It's a gallon of water a day. It's 0 booze and a strict diet of your choice. Doesn't matter what it is. And it has to happen every single day if you fall off of it. Now that sounds like a massively physical regimen, doesn't it? Everybody listen to me. Does that sound like, wow, strict diet, a gallon of water, all that? I'm here to tell you, and I'm dying for Cheryl for your input. If you had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 physical and 1 to 10 emotional and mental toughness, where does it rate physical? Where does it rate mental toughness?
The mental toughness is definitely, now that this is my second time around, the mental toughness, it's still around an 8. And some days it's a 10, and you talk about the monkey. Yep. We call it the bitch voice, because it's telling you to, it's telling you not, oh, you need this today. You don't need to do that today. You could stop, you could quit, and as far as the physical part, yeah, some days it gets hard, because you are physically exhausted, but your mind is the reason you're physically exhausted. Because if you push through with your mind, and I know me, I'm very competitive, and I will not give up. I will not go on my group that I'm in and say, I gave up today because of XYZ. Not going to happen. So we need to take our goals and do the exact same thing. I'm not going to give up on my real estate just because it's a bad, I don't want to say a bad market, but it's a different market now, and we have a war going on, and not just COVID and all these things happen. I got in real estate during COVID, so I feel like really I'm a faith-based person, and I feel like God has allowed this time for me to get myself ready for the next big boom. So that's where I'm at.
I love it. Piggybacking on there, because I know you're going to have to hop off real quick. The next big boom is your database.
Yeah.
Now it's other things as well, but that's it.
Yep.
Hold on one second.
On that.
Please do. I don't want to call Rainey out. I'm not going to do that. Rainey, I won't call you out laughing in there in camera. I'm not going to say Rainey's name because that would be inappropriate. It's database. That's what we're going to talk about later today. Okay. Cheryl, thank you very much for sharing that, guys. Here's the part that I absolutely know this to be true, that I've done 75 Hard, and I got up to like day 45, and then I went on vacation, and then the bitch started talking to me, and I'm not, oh, that's not fair. I was vacationing with my daughter, my 2 daughters, and my wife. The drunk monkey started talking to me. That's more appropriate. It is all mental, and mental is your secret power, because nobody can take it away. Little sidebar, just throwing this out there. I copied it already. DeFalco, Fred, good to see you, Godfather, has his phone number right on his name. So I went in and I changed my name, so my phone number is there. So if anybody needs me, you can reach it. If you're not able to see it, just click on there and pin me as a post, and you'll be able to see it. It pops up. But I thought that was a great idea, Fred, so I'm plagiarizing the heck out of that. Wow. Y'all get that? You can do whatever you put your mind to. And your focus is absolutely critical to that success? Does your environment support what you're trying to do? Do you have a place where you can go and what you need is around you and what you don't need is not? I have a gallon of water jug right here because I drink water all the time and I don't want to get up when I'm on point. My phone is constantly on silent because it gets in the way of what I'm working on. I have 3 screens that are up, but when I'm focused, I turn off 2 of them on purpose. I don't want to see them. My emails show up at the beginning of every hour. That's it. I just had 20 emails come through at the top of the hour. We can accomplish whatever we put our mind to. We can accomplish anything that we're willing to focus on. I challenge everybody here to find out what your priorities are. Perhaps use that worksheet, which has been dropped a couple of times, the focus document. Figure out what your priorities really are. And then I want you to give an hour focus to whatever is most important to you. I want you to put it on your schedule, go somewhere quiet. You're going to find it is extraordinarily difficult to give an hour of concentration onto something. In fact, you'll probably get 10 minutes in, which is absolutely perfect. And then all of a sudden you'll squirrel somewhere, or if you sit out in the front porch like I do, a squirrel will go by and you're going to have to bring yourself back in. And if you can do that, you're on your way to success. But I also want to give you permission that you're not going to be great at it yet, that it takes, like everything else, it's an exercise, a muscle memory exercise. Get out there, give yourself an hour, don't get up. Please go to the bathroom first because that's an excuse. And here's the ugly little secret. You're going to feel uncomfortable at first doing so. I know this because I felt uncomfortable doing so. And that's part of the process, but you'll get to the point very quickly where you can all of a sudden go from, I'm going to sit down and I've got a problem and I'm going to work through this solution. I'm going to give myself an hour. And your focus on that becomes, your muscle memory on focus becomes so strong that you're able to probably accomplish the solutions to that, or at least get you going in the first 30 minutes. Currently, a simple problem of how am I going to redesign the garage, using that as a ridiculously simple example, will probably take a full hour to write down at least 5 or 6 really good ideas because you're going to be all over the place. But after a while, it'll be a 10-minute process for your focus. And now you have actionable items. Miss Lizette, you have your hand up. Perfect timing. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So for some of you guys that might be struggling with keeping structure, for example, the focus handout that he had, I actually uploaded something that you can use your phone screensaver instead of putting pictures and things like that. Sometimes if it kind of helps us focus. Every time the first thing we look at is our phone. So, whatever it is important to you to get reminders on, you can put it as a screensaver, and that way you could remind yourself to think about it every time you look at your phone.
I love that. And it gives you, it really does allow you to stay on point. It's, again, surrounding your environment with things that are really supportive of what your goals are. I love that.
Right.
Thanks, Lizette, very, very much. I showed a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago when we did this class previously, I was showing everybody what my 3 days, I followed myself for 3 days. I literally had a time sheet and I said every hour of the day what I was doing on the half-an-hour breaks. It turns out I worked less than 3.5 hours and I spent well more than 3 hours a day looking at catamaran boats. Okay. No, I'm just being transparent. I shared it with Tiffany. I said, this is what I'm doing. And she looked at me and she goes, and since she's not on the call, I can say this. She goes, you're an idiot. You don't deserve to be where you're at because you obviously have zero focus. Now, of course, she didn't say that, but the bottom line was, this is me. I'm pretty good at what I do. And I was having trouble putting more than 3.5 hours worth of work in on a day's notice. So let's try and make it easier for everybody. This hour doesn't count. This is not part of the work time frame for the 8:30 to 9:30. This is our mindset. We're surrounding ourselves with the positivities, the energies we need. But at 9:30, can you give me 3 hours of work? Because that's ultimately your goal. As a real estate professional, Godfather, I got to call you in on this one. I need your input and I need your advice. Is it a fair and accurate statement for me to say that the average real estate agent, if they did 3 hours of focused work on or in their business a day, they would be at the top of the game, that would exceed most other agents in the entire country?
That's a question for Deep.
Okay.
No, I'm good. Of course. I mean, listen, we all know, I mean, we don't need to, we all know that we don't function at our not only our highest levels, we sometimes don't function at all. So it's definitely, this topic is very, very important. And Friday, Claire's session was on this, and Wednesday mine was, and this is, you can't get enough of this. Absolutely, but I like this, try to just keep it simple. But what you don't, our lives should be lived by a schedule, right? And you don't get in a car and start driving somewhere without a GPS or a map, and every day needs to have a map. I'm going to be bringing this up again on Wednesday myself, with these 7 C's we talked about last week. So you got to have a map, and I like it. If you do 3, life by the inch is a cinch, life by the yard is hard. 3 hours is a whole lot easier to plan than, 10 hours. So I agree. I think it's right on target.
Thanks, Fred. I appreciate that. I want to piggyback a little bit on what you just said with the 3 hours and all. Guys, if you can give 3 hours of work, if you can say, all right, I know what now, hopefully this occurs before 8:30, before we get on our calls. You say, I know what I've got to do today. I know what I have to do, which gets me closer to the ultimate goals. And I'm going to give it focus. I'm going to focus, I don't know, that hour sitting outside planning the garage, and realize, okay, that 3 hours, I'm not really going to get full 3 hours in. I'm going to get better at it though. But my focus for the first hour is database. That's just me. That's what my world is. And I'm going to make those calls. I'm going to do the right thing. And I'm going to make sure my database is on point today, period. I've got another hour of building the real estate business. I've got another hour of working on it, figuring out what needs to happen in that 3 hours. If I can get 3 good hours worth of stuff done, you know what I'm doing afterwards? I'm going to play golf. I deserved it, unless I have an appointment. Do the same thing. You deserve it. If you put in 3 hours, the average person, they did a study on this, works less than 3.5 hours in an 8-hour workday. I'm challenging us to be smarter than the average person and put that 3 hours in, and let's call it done by 12:30. And at 12:30, go to the beach. Unless, of course, you live in Tennessee and then stay the hell inside. But for anybody who lives in Florida, go to the beach and reward yourself for what you're doing. Everything is possible. I wrote this down because I like it. Big, hairy, ostentatious goals. I mean, massive, crazy, crazy goals. Here's a couple real quick. $5 million in stock. Not there yet. Revenue share, because that's part of my world. Revenue share. Fred, you'll appreciate this. When I had on my goal, I put this down a year ago, where I had 1 month, it was $29,000. It gets a big check. 1,000 leads per month, 100 referrals out, and 10 closings from those referrals. I am not at that point yet. We're probably at about, 30 leads a month. But that's my mission, is how do I grow that? I'm going to be using YouTube to do a lot more of that, by the way. Just throwing that out there. That's part of my plan and what I'm focusing on. The 197 pounds, we covered that. This is stuff that I look at every single day. These are big, hairy, awesome. $5 million in stock. That's a lot. Okay. I mean, that's not going to happen this year. It's not going to happen probably next year, but the year after, it has great potential because we're working towards that. Okay. Although we did have a little bit of a monkey wrench with the war that may have caused a little bit of an issue with the stock market, but it's short term. My long term is going to happen. I want you to have massive, hairy, ostentatious goals. And then let's start eating the elephant one small bite at a time. What did you say, Fred? Yard is hard, inches are easy. Is that right? Inches are easy, yard's hard.
Life by the inches is a cinch. Life by the yard is hard.
Life by the inches is a cinch. Life by the yard is hard. I love that.
That's Ziegler's old quote. And, one of the things that, focus, your topic was focus today. And, focus is fixing observation constantly upon succeeding. And our observation, is like you say, where focus goes, energy flows, Tony Robbins says, right? So that fixing observation constantly upon succeeding, you've got to give yourself some credit. We're torpedoes. We're programmed just like a torpedo. We're going to get off to the left, but don't get too far off to the left. You're going to get off to the right. Don't get too far off to the right. Just try to have a target. And the number one thing is to start your target. Number two is to have your database. And then just fixing that observation constantly upon succeeding. And that left is ugly. That right is ugly. I hate both of them, but they're the ones that cause me to correct. That's the way a torpedo is programmed. If without the left, you're not going to go to the middle, back to the middle. Without the going back to the right, you're not going to go back to the middle. And so we got to appreciate the divine intelligence and integrity that we're designed with, that everything is good. And we see a waste of time. Oh, it's bad. Or see that I ate the extra bowl of ice cream is bad. No, it's good. It's there to correct you, right? It's there to correct you. So, you know, that's the thing. We beat ourselves up when we're off to the left. We beat ourselves up when we're off to the right. Stop it. Just autocorrect. And that's why you need this meeting in the morning. That's why you need YouTube. That's why you need to take my 100,000 step challenge, by the way, which is tomorrow. It'll all be finished. It's so correct. Fix your observation constantly upon succeeding. That's what focus is, right, George? Focus, fixing observation.
Folks, if you decide, and it's up to you, that you want focus, it's very easy to put into play. Look at your surroundings. Make sure you give yourself the time and get rid of the distractions. I'm assuming the focus will be on one of your goals, or at least a portion of that goal. The art of focus, the practice of focus, is a challenging one when it starts. Be prepared that you will not be able to focus as long as you would like to, or as you probably think you can. I know that I was sadly disappointed with my focusing skills. They have gotten better. I will tell you the story of a friend of mine who is actually one of my business partners. His name is Jim Krautkramer. He told me a while ago and introduced me to this app that I use that I'll talk about in just a couple minutes because I'm wrapping this up. He said, George, I sit down for an hour with one issue and I'm in a quiet spot. It happened to be on his front porch, and he sits and he writes down everything he can do. And in that page or a couple pages of notes, he comes up with 17 to 20 different things, and it narrows down to 1 or 2 actionable items. And inevitably, that goes into his action plan. That has to be accomplished for his goal. The focus supports his goals. Now, he uses an app called Things, and it's available on iPhone or an Apple and anything that's an Apple product. And it allows you to make projects and have different action plans and things that need to happen. It's also a hell of a powerful to-do list. It costs like $5. I'm not encouraging anybody that needs to use it. But the idea behind it is you have this big project, and in this project, you have step 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And in there's 1, 2, 3 things that have to happen, 1, 2, 3 more things that have to happen. And as he goes through and takes care of these things, the goal starts coming into shape. And he's accomplished more in his 55 years than most people I know. He is incredibly on point. And if there's a problem, he solves it and puts it behind him and moves towards his goals and his objectives. And he does it through his ability to focus. He was the inspiration for this class because he's better at it than anybody I've seen. And I continue to strive to that level where I can focus on something and come up with a solution, because for all of you, the problem you face, the challenge that you're facing, the mountain that's in front of you, mentally in your brain, you can solve it. You can find the solution. You have every possible answer. And your ability to focus and let it come to you and then be part of that is going to do wonders for you if you'll give it a chance. All right. I have to call this out. Karen, your hair looks phenomenal. I can't pull you up on a big pin. She's obviously changed her hair a little bit. Looks great. I just noticed that only because I have no hair. So I, of course, look at other people's hair. I just wanted to say that. Guys, nothing is beyond your reach. And focus on what you want will actually start to give you the answers. I want to share what Things looks like real quick, because it might be something that's relevant for 1, 2, 3, or 7 of us. Maybe. No, I don't. It's not working this day. That's all right. It's called Things is the app. If you're interested, by all means, go get it. I am a fan of it nonstop. It allows you to organize. Let's open it up for general topics conversation. Lizette, you're first with a hand up. What's up, my friend?
No, I just wanted to share. So a lot of people don't know me, a lot of details of maybe other things I've done, but I've actually lost in the course of 3 years. I did get a gastric sleeve, but I did lose over 120 pounds. So I used to weigh 300 pounds. I weigh right now about 177 pounds. And I just wanted to share that for some people, you know, do what you got to do. You know, for years, I struggled with my weight. I grew up chubby. I was chunky. I was chunky all my life, and, you know, a little chunky girl. And my doctor opened up an opportunity. I was open to it and it worked. So what I mean is everything is different for everybody. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing, but be open to finding a way for you to move forward. Because if somebody's doing it better than you and they know and they're already accomplishing it, that's probably the way to go. But again, a lot of people are doing it. I mean, I did it. And like I said, I never thought I would weigh 177 pounds right now. And I just got out of surgery. I was able to remove 10 pounds of extra skin from my body, 10 pounds of extra skin. That was amazing. I thought my back is hurting less. I feel so much better. I'm recouping. That's why you guys see me on a couch, because I'm recouping 2 weeks past surgery, but it's possible. I have 5 kids. I'm a caregiver. Listen, you can do this. You can do this. And I tell people all the time, if I did it, you can do it 10 times better.
Yeah. And it's not a slight on you by any means by saying that. What it is that anybody can accomplish anything. Every one of you can accomplish what you want. Delaney, at 20 closings, you and I both know it is simply a matter of you focusing on what must be done and then doing what has to be done. And I think that we can agree, and I'm asking for some input on that one, Delaney. So I want you to answer this question. Is it really, really truthfully more than 3 hours a day that if you focus 3 hours a day on your mission to those 20 transactions, do you feel that if you gave it 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, you'd be able to hit those goals with your eyes closed?
Absolutely. And
So,
that's actually what I'm working on right now, is just making sure that I input everything on my calendar that I'm actually doing, just so I can track the amount of hours that I'm actually spending on work. So I can see myself.
fair warning, it is horrible to do, but so valuable. I was blown away when I'm jotting this down, and then I had to share it with Tiffany. And I'm like, holy crap, I'm spending more time looking at a flipping catamaran sailboat than I am actually working towards getting a catamaran sailboat. And Tiffany was laughing at me. She goes, you suck. You're an idiot. You don't deserve to be here. Go to the back. She put me at the back of the bus. It was awful. And she's laughing back there. I can see her. Anything you want. Thank you, Delaney. I appreciate you saying that, because this is what's so cool about this. We can share things that don't make us superstars here. We can share things that we do that we're deficient in, and share them because it's a safe environment. We're all here to support each other. I know you got this, Delaney, and I can't wait to watch what this year turns out. I'm proud of you. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Floor is open, folks. Yes,
hey,
sir.
George, to Lizette. Lizette, namaste. Namaste, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Now, let me ask you a question. When she spoke up, did you all feel something? That wasn't emotions you felt. It was heart to heart. You got a little bit of heart from Lizette, right? And that's what encouragement is all about. Cur, Latin word, heart. And when you encourage someone, you give them more heart. And so thank you, Lizette, for that, for being vulnerable, transparent. She got on her ATV and she revved it up. Authentic, transparent, and vulnerable. Thank you. Because you gave me some heart today. I just love it. A couple of projects I have to do myself today. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Wow.
And,
y'all get that. Godfather, who is like literally, y'all are there for our Wednesday calls with Fred. The Soulful Wednesdays are just amazing. This is a guy that knows more about what he's doing, and you just hear him being completely transparent, saying he has to rev it up a little bit too. Nobody's perfect. He has more experience than almost all of us, and quite honestly, most of us put together. Yet he's human too. So you're completely permitted to be human and make mistakes and get back on track. Fred, thanks for sharing that, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, listen, Tony Robbins has to force himself to jump in a 58-degree pool every morning to get motivated. Okay, so guys, when will we ever learn? We are torpedoes. And once you realize, oh my God, I'm a torpedo? Really? Yes. You're going to go to the left, you're going to go to the right. The problem is we get hung up when we go on the left, and we get hung up when we go onto the right. Just keep remembering that you're still a torpedo, whether you're at the left or the right. Just keep it focused. Fixing observation constantly upon succeeding. That's what torpedoes do. So keep it up. Lizette, you got that focus. You weren't going to back down, and you went straight ahead. And I'm sure there's been times you went to the left and go, what the hell did I do? Why did I do that? And there's been other times where you're going, oh, no, etc. But yet you still came back to the center and saying, I will conquer this one way or the other. And I just, kudos to you, my friend.
Fred, I got to bring something up, and I definitely want you to jump in on this one as you can. I'm looking around at some of the people we have on the call, and some I know very, very well. There are some people on this call, it may be you, it may not be, and that's okay, who have started off with such a bang and such gusto and said, I'm going to do this. And then they just didn't hit the success that they wanted right away. They just didn't reach where, like, because everybody wants, when you get into real estate, you want that first 3 or 4 closings so you can put it under your belt. You're starting to get a little more financially positioned and a little more comfortable. And sometimes it doesn't happen right away. In fact, some of you know Brent Gove, who's a very good friend of all of ours, one of our, for everybody on this call, he's a partner of yours. I mean, literally a partner of yours. Brent, who is one of the most successful real estate agents in the world, sold 3 homes his first year. 3 homes his first year. He makes over $1 million a month now. 3 homes his first year. So for some of you who, like, you're ready, you got fired up, you got started, I'm going to challenge you that if you're not at where you wanted to be, I want you to refocus, to identify your goals and then start focusing on them, and slowly and then faster and faster start chipping away at some of the things you must do, focusing on what must be accomplished. Start eating that elephant one bite at a time. Inches are easy, yards are hard. Start working on it. The simple act of getting into action is contagious. And the feeling you will have of refocusing and re-engaging will take you into momentum. I am here to tell you, 6 to 8 weeks is just the beginning, not the end. That's where momentum starts to work. It usually takes 3 months. But once you get started, carry on, and it will as well. And for all of you that are getting into momentum, starting to feel it or in momentum, if you take your foot off the gas pedal, and in this case, that is us lead generating. Unfortunately, that's the nature of this business. It's the nature of every business. You know, a doctor goes out of business if nobody else comes into his office. That's just how it works. You know, a garbage company that takes away garbage, if nobody calls and says, I want my garbage taken away, and they're going to another company, they're out of business. Everybody has this responsibility. What are you going to do? Do you have clarity? Did you have clarity when you started? And can you re-identify that clarity and then maybe refocus on it? Maybe grab somebody on this call, maybe grab somebody you know very closely, maybe grab your sponsor, your business partner, and say, what can I do? Here's my list. How does this look to you? They're not going to write it for you. It would be foolish for them to do so. But you can refocus. You can get your energy back up if you seem to have lost it by focus and knowing what you're going to do, and then start getting stuff done. This is a personal story. I'll finish with this one. I have caught myself after about 3 weeks, this is back in 2003, making every excuse why I called for sale by owners, making every excuse of why I wasn't going to make the phone call. I didn't make the phone call. I took a couple of weeks not making the phone calls, and I was going into a rut. It took the person I was working for, who was also at that point my coach, but he was the guy that knew more about real estate. And he got in my face and he's like, George, are you even doing the work? I said, well, not really. I've come up with excuses. He's like, oh, I get that. And that makes you human. So everybody out there, understand that doesn't make you weird. It makes you normal. But I do want to challenge you to refocus on what is important to you, to apply energy towards accomplishing what you're focusing on. And you're going to make mistakes, and that's awesome. But make the effort. You'll be amazed at the results. Now, it is 9:30, which means I'm going to work because I have things I focus on, and they start at 9:30. I hope you all do the same, or maybe hang out for a little after party and with Miss Tiffany and Miss Joe. And if he's still on here, Mr. Daryl's on here as well. Outstanding. But at 10 o'clock, I want you to focus on what it is. And actually, you should have already known this. So let's get into that a little bit earlier. I am super grateful that you're here. If you want other classes, please let us know. We want to know what you want more information on. And remember this above everything else, you are incredible. Go out and tell somebody you love them, because the truth is they need to hear it, and it'll make you feel better. And that's database management. Tell them they're important, that they matter, because you never know when it's exactly the right time. Imagine that horrible feeling when there's somebody you're like, oh my God, I got to let them know I love them, love them, love them. They're just amazing. And then the next day, for whatever reason, God says they're going to come and join me now, and we don't get that opportunity. Don't waste the moment. Tell somebody that's important to you that they're important. They want to hear it. It will change their world. God bless y'all. Y'all are important to me. I can't thank you enough. Karen, love the hair. You're awesome. And I turn it over to Tiff and Daryl for the after party.